I mean, is it just me? Am I missing something? Everyone's so happy, holding hands and smiling. Maybe I should just stop looking. It's exhausting. Why can't I find someone that I can fall in love with, like these two people taking selfie?
I have met 6 girls, and still I couldn't fall in love with any of them. What's wrong?
This is the quintessential question individuals pose to themselves, especially those who are not predisposed to fall in love easily. The cognitive psychology of Generation X, why many hardly fall in love. Hello, and welcome to Rot in Stillness. Let's plunge into the minds and hearts of Generation X, born roughly between 1965 and 1980. We are the Latchkey kids, the bridge between analog and digital worlds, the generation that grew up watching our parents' marriages crumble while learning to fend for ourselves. Today, we are exploring a common but rarely discussed pattern, why so many in Gen X seem to hardly fall in love or struggle with the intense, vulnerable passion that defines romantic ideals. This isn't about judgment. It's about cognitive psychology, attachment theory, cultural shifts, and real differences between experiences in North America and Europe. We draw on research from attachment theory pioneers like John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, Robert Sternberg's triangular theory of love, and cross-generational studies. By the end, you'll understand the schemas shaping our relationships and paths toward change. Let's begin. The Latchkey legacy. Generation X entered the world during massive social change. In the United States and Canada, divorce rates skyrocketed in the 1970s and 80s. Dual-income households became the norm. Many of us came home from school to empty houses, latchkey kids, learning self-reliance early. In Europe, similar shifts occurred, though often moderated by stronger social safety nets. Western Europe saw rising divorces in the UK, Germany, and Scandinavia. Southern Europe, like Italy and Spain, held onto family norms longer but still experienced change. These early experiences shape what psychologists call internal working models, mental schemas about ourselves, others, and relationships. For many Gen Zers, the core message was, you must handle things alone. Dependence is risky. Emotions are best managed privately. This upbringing fosters hyper-independence and emotional guardedness. Cynicism toward lasting love grew from witnessing high-parental divorce rates. Love became viewed pragmatically, a practical partnership rather than fairy tale surrender. As attachment research shows, children of divorce or emotional neglect often develop protective mechanisms. Vulnerability feels like a threat to autonomy. Attachment theory and Gen X. Let's go deeper with attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. It explains how early caregiver bonds shape lifelong relational patterns. The 4 main adult attachment styles are secure, anxious preoccupied, dismissive-avoidant, and fearful-avoidant. Gen X shows elevated dismissive-avoidant tendencies. People with this style highly value independence, feel discomfort with closeness, and often downplay emotional needs. The core belief becomes, I don't need anyone. Why Gen X specifically? The combination of latchkey independence and parental emotional distance, or outright divorce, played a major role. In North America, sharper cultural individualism amplified this pattern. The figure-it-out-alone ethos was particularly strong. In Europe, patterns mirror this in more individualistic nations like the UK and the Netherlands. However, Southern European family structures sometimes provided buffers that reduced the severity. Cross-cultural data shows that Western samples consistently fit these attachment models. Think of the Gen X guy who crushes on someone but pulls away when things get serious. Or the woman who builds a successful career but keeps partners at arm's length. These aren't flaws, they are adaptive strategies developed in childhood. Cognitive hallmarks of this pattern include intimacy registering as a threat to control, deactivation of attachment needs, strength in crisis management, but difficulty asking for support. Studies note that Gen X men, in particular, often display avoidant traits linked to early pressures toward emotional maturity. Studies note that Gen X men, in particular, often display avoidant traits linked to early pressures toward emotional maturity. Sternberg's triangular theory of love in Gen X. Psychologist Robert Sternberg's triangular theory of love breaks romantic love into 3 components: intimacy, emotional closeness, passion, romantic attraction and excitement, and commitment, the decision to stay and build a future. Consummate love, the ideal, has all three in balance. Research comparing generations shows that Gen X often scores lower across these components than younger generations, especially Gen Z. We tend to prioritize practical, companionate love, steady and reliable, over intense passion or deep emotional margin. In North America, the strong cultural emphasis on self-fulfillment makes falling hard feel secondary to career success and personal independence. High relational mobility also increases risk aversion. In Europe, similar pragmatism appears in northern and western countries. Scandinavian emphasis